Hello campers, Dr. Dickey here. Okie dokie, update. The inverter's been running for 2 weeks now. Got an electric bill, and the first time we were on the inverter before all of the house was on the system, our bill went from 900 and some kilowatt hours down to 400 and some kilowatt hours, over 50% reduction. Because the inverter was out for 2 weeks, at least, this last bill we went from 900 something only down to 600. But now we're back on with the full house, so I expect the next bill to be a significant reduction, hopefully from 900 to like 300 is what it should do, I think. So an update. Inverter's on and working. I'll take you out there in a second. But what's coming up? In other words, what have I been working on? Well, a couple of things, but the biggest one is I want to increase the capacity of the battery. And I'll take you out there and show that. But to increase the capacity, I need to add more cells into each one of the packs. So I have been processing cells, and this is sort of a look at what I've got done so far. That's about 1,200 cells. I need to get 1,120 cells to do my update. That's based on how many cells I want to add to each pack. 80 cells to each pack. It's going to be half again. Right now, each one of the packs has 160 cells in it. I want to up them by another 80 cells, so 240 in each pack, 14 packs. The reason for that is this. Right now, the cells overnight, when we're on just battery, cells overnight go from, I have them set to about 3.99 volts for each cell. And then, or each pack, depending on how you want to look at it, since they're all parallel. Get this open. And then overnight they go down to about 3.73 or so. So if we take a look at the packs, this is just, I was just checking to make sure. I'm going to increase them. So right now, like I said, there's 160 cells in each one of the packs. I want to piggyback on top of them by using this to put a new cell. Just put it right on top of these. And that will increase each one by 80, so they'll go from 160 to 240. That'll increase my capacity by 1/2 again. The other thing is, I don't really need this metal cabinet, so I don't think I'm going to keep the metal cabinet in here. Originally, this was going to be in another shed I had, but my neighbor gave me this shed because he didn't want it anymore. So I think what I'm going to do is when I do those packs, I'm going to have to take all this stuff apart. And that fan is on for the... I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get rid of this cabinet. I haven't completely decided whether that's what I'm going to do or not. It is kind of nice to have this restricted to a cabinet if there was a fire event of some sort. But the problem is the shelves in this cabinet are rated for 200 pounds. The packs that I have in there right now have a weight of about 230 pounds. With miscellaneous bus bars and everything else, say 250 pounds. If I increase the capacity by half again, it's going to go from 230 pounds up by another 115 pounds, and that means it's going to go up to 350 pounds or so, 345, and then the miscellaneous stuff 50 pounds, 350 pounds. I put a piece of 3/4 inch plywood underneath there, and that adds some rigidity to the shelf. So I don't have any problem with the shelf holding 230 pounds. I think that's trivial. It can do that, no problem. I think it could do it without that. I don't know whether it'll be enough to hold 350 pounds. That would be 150 pounds, not quite double what it's rated for. It may be able to be fine. The problem is the way the cabinet is designed. These areas down here, and this floor doesn't sit on the ground. I can't really build a wooden frame underneath of it at a 2x4s or something to support it. At least not easily. I'm still going to look into the possibility of doing that. But it really needs the support in the center. That's where it needs it. Now with the way that floor is, that can't be done trivially. It's going to be very difficult to do, maybe. I'm still going to look into that possibility, but I'm not positive that that's going to be possible. So if I can figure out how to do that the way I want to do it, perhaps I'll just put a brace that goes to the floor right out in front of it. I hadn't thought of that before, but that would probably work. Then I'll keep it in the cabinet. So having just thought of that idea, thank you guys very much for giving me the opportunity to think of that. Having just thought of that idea, I think that's probably what I'll do. I'll just put a 2x4 on the floor in front, down here on the floor. I'm cleaning stuff up right now, so I'm in the midst. I got a new holder for stuff, and I'm in the midst of cleaning stuff up. I'll just put a 2x4 across the front, have it come up, and then go to the back. And I'm not sure how I'll do it in the back, but I'll figure out some way, I think, to do it in the back. Yeah, I can do that. It'll go from each one of those. Yeah, okay, that'll work. I think that'll work fine. I think that will be sufficient to brace it up to where I can be confident they can hold all the poundage. And now, of course, the inverter for the other battery comes on. I've got a new BMS coming for the small battery that I made for the fan setup. And I hope to get the battery upgrade in capacity done by over Thanksgiving. I've still got, because of the way you have to process those 18650 cells, like I say, you measure the capacity, you put them up to like 4.2 volts, let them sit for 30 days, and then make sure they don't self-discharge. And so far I haven't had any that self-discharge. Of course, I eliminate most of the ones that are under 2.5 volts, have an internal resistance that's too high. So I've really been very selective. These batteries, because I know how to do it now, these batteries I build to augment this battery is going to be better. They're going to be of a better quality than what I did before, simply because, like I said, I have a greater understanding of what needs to be done. So kind of a shame, but kind of not. And there's just one more thing. Let me take you inside and I'll tell you about it. So I have this lead acid system I've had for, 10 years. That's what got me started. It's on a solar system. It runs my solar pump for my garden. It keeps this small refrigerator running, and it also runs for my ham radio that I use. And there's a couple more batteries that I've had for quite some time that are down there. They're all hooked into the system. But they're lead acid, so their capacity is not as great as you'd think, even if they're rated at 200. I think each one of these big ones here are 200 amp hours, which really means you only get 100 amp hours. I think both of those are 100 amp hours, so you only really get 50 possible. And then the other ones, I can't remember what they are, but they're so old, I'm sure they're not very good anymore. I want to upgrade this. I want to get rid of these lead acid batteries. The 130 pound ones, these are 130 pounds each, these big ones. 130 pounds each. The other ones I can probably take to an automotive store because they're about the size of automotive batteries, and they usually will recycle those. The two big ones, 130 pounds. It is massive, tough for an old fart like me to lift up. But fortunately, where I live, they're going to do a battery recycling, moving, rolling thing that comes it comes out here every December. So this December, I think I'm going to try to get rid of all these. In lieu of this, I want to replace it with a lead iron phosphate system. So I'll put a series of lead iron phosphate cells down there, which means I'll have to get a BMS for it. That's no problem. And solar system still will work. It's on 2 panels that are up on top of the, next to the shed that I've showed. You've seen those before. So that's the thing. I really want to get rid of this lead acid system, and I want to replace it with a lithium iron phosphate system. Because it's going to be inside the house, lithium iron phosphate, has almost no problems with, you don't get any thermal runaways on it. You don't have any problem with having it inside your house. It's not, dangerous like lithium ion batteries like the 18650s. There's a slight amount of danger. Not huge, but a slight amount. But I do lithium iron phosphate inside the house, which ultimately was what be what I will do if and when my wife and I finally retire, my wife and I move to Texas or something, which is what we're kind of planning on doing. I will build a lithium iron phosphate system out there and run that. Would be for the whole house, basically the whole house. So that's the plan. That's a couple things that are coming this year. Now, the problem is to get the lithium iron phosphate cells. Got to get them from China, who's doing better and better. Have some manufacturers that have good quality cells in there, but it's like 3 months to get the cells in. So, if I recycle those 2 big lead acid ones, I may have to order the cells right now to be able to do the replacement, and I don't know if I'm really ready to do that or not. But I guess I'll have to pull the trigger and do it. But I'm gonna have to order those individual cells pretty soon, and I want to be able to increase this because these really don't seem to hold capacity like they used to. So far, it's enough to run everything I have on them, but I don't have much on them. The ham radio one time, like last week, I was using it, and when I hit transmit, it would cut out. And I figured out that it was cutting out because there wasn't enough power in the batteries to be able to supply the current for transmit. So that was a big wake-up call to me. I really thought that there would be enough, but apparently there isn't. So that's the latest up. That's what's coming. I'm going to increase the capacity of my battery that's in the shed that the house is on, and I'm going to change my lead acid system over to lithium iron phosphate. So thanks for watching. And all that will be something which will be coming up. Okay? See you next time.